All right, we're gonna try this out. This is gonna be, I'm gonna do like a little series of just charting out tickers that I know that Don has saved in his charts. I went through this morning and these are tickers that were already on my watch list, so I went ahead and pulled those out. They are all in Don's charts, so they're ones that have all his yellow zones on them. So if you load up his charts, you basically have the answer to the test. So I'm going to do a little series where I'm going to just go through and chart out some tickers, and then I'm going to compare what I come up with as far as zones to what Don came up with. And ultimately, I'm hoping to receive some sort of coaching or feedback from Don, if you have time, to figure out like what I'm looking at versus what Don's looking at. Am I looking at the right zone? Am I just getting confused on some things? So I think it's going to be a neat little test. So we're going to do Airbnb first and foremost. And to do this, I'm actually in Airbnb right now, based off of this weekly zone. So I've got a couple of things on there, but let's go ahead and clear out everything. So we're gonna figure out. There's a remove drawings button. There we go. So we're gonna start with some fresh zones, and I know that Don primarily does 4 hour. I'm gonna try my luck on the 4 hour. I'm much more comfortable on like the daily and the weekly, but there we have it. So, and I'm trying not to cheat because like this bottom zone worked out great. I got in at the bottom, and I'm actually still trailing my stop on it. But we're not going to focus on that a whole lot. But looking left, I do see some areas of consolidation right around here. So what is going on there? Um, I would say there's something. Oops, I just moved my mouse while I was looking for my keys. I would say there's something pretty obviously going on right there. I don't like how that doesn't match up. Um, we've got, drop base rally, drop, and we sort of held into that area even through earnings. Dropped down, held onto this, and then pushed our way back up and out of there. Trying to figure out where the next real base happened. So we were selling off just fine. Then we got this little hiccup right here. So that catches my attention. And then when we come up, once again, I would be more tempted to make this lower, um, so that I would grab more of the peaks here. But I'm really gonna try to like think like Don thinks because when I do zones, I tend to be like right next to his. So I'm gonna try to remember. Like actually just went back through the teachable lessons where Don was teaching on where he finds balance, and the thing that he was pointing out was he looks for balance that results in an explosive move afterward. So we've got the balance here, and then it explodes up and out of there. We've got the balance here, and then it explodes up and out of there. And then we have this balance here that results in every time we hit it, like we got close, we pushed up, rejection, 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 and then we came down. So this zone held pretty strongly right there. So let's go ahead and get our blue boxes on there. Blue for me is a regular zone, because my charts are designed to not induce any kind of stress at all. So the candles aren't very colorful. The zones themselves aren't overly bright or anything like that. It's all very relaxed. Um, so that ended up working out just fine. We pushed back up here, and then so we'd be trying to figure out where the next sort of interaction is going to be. It gets really choppy through here. There's something going on with these wicks. It almost looks like some consolidation right there. I'm not wild about it though. Um, like where I'm grabbing that based on like these wicks came up and punched through it. We've got some structure, like it pushed up, kind of consolidated right there, and then pushed up from there, sold back off, wicked right back up. So we tried holding this until we came down here and hit the zone, and then we actually launched, which is interesting because I drew this zone based on this price action over here. But I mean, look how obviously it played out over here as well. But the next question is, where would that next line be? Um, I'm gonna have to amend this a little bit because we got a base right here. So we sold down into this, we got a base. It didn't really go super far though. But I would almost be tempted to make this a little bit more like this. And so we sold through it, we pushed back up. So that base formed as a zone. We pushed back up, we hit it, we sold through. Now let's see how it interacts when we scroll out this way. Okay, so we got choppy in through here. But then we ended up holding it. I mean, by the time we get over here, I'd say that's pretty strong. It sold off down. It looks like that was just post earnings. Wait, why was earnings here? But it happened. That candle's pretty crazy. But so that ended up holding pretty strongly. You could see we got some interaction with it. I don't like how it broke below that and then pushed up. Um, but I would say that that's the zone. I'm not a big fan of this zone. It's not. I don't like the price action in here. I would almost argue it's more of a speed bump because you don't get clear rejection one way or the other. But you can't argue that there's not some sort of tug of war going on right around there. So that by the time we get over here, though, it really starts ignoring it. Um, and we have this going on right here. This push up, consolidate, turn around. We've got a base right here. I mean, that to me looks like it's going to have to be a zone. We pushed up, tried breaking it, failed. We failed on this one. I hate to do this. That's a really awkward speed bump, but I'm going to label it as a speed bump. And then this to me would be a regular zone. Okay. Looking further this way. So we've got that consolidation that happened right there, and then obviously we're sort of cheating right now because we have previous structure to work off of, or I should say it's cheating because this worked out beautifully, right? When we look at like where that tug of war took place, we've had the tug of war, that consolidation taking place right about there. I dislike these moves, but that's also earnings related, so I can't really fault it. But like this kind of a thing where it just disrespects the zone, pushes up, hits, but like this choppiness through the zone, this kind of price action, once again, it makes sense, but I think on like a weekly level, right, I would have, come on now, I would probably have the top of the zone more around there. And then we got basically a reversal candle inside of the zone. I mean, that looks like the zone holding even on a weekly level though, so I really can't argue too much. So there we go. I'll keep that as a zone. And then the next question is there something in the middle that I'm missing here? The obvious answer is yes, because we got some pretty strong interaction right there. Um, and I'm just going to switch using the trackpad. That's actually a little easier here. So we've got consolidation through here. We've got a big sell off and then it got bought right back up. We tried holding right here. We broke down and through. Kind of ignored it right here. I mean, you could see a little bit of consolidation. Came down, consolidated. So I'm going to grab this based on really like my final decision for where that zone should be is I see this consolidation, I see that, but then this right here, we sell off, then we come down, we base out, bear flag of reversal, it was a bear flag, and then we kept coming down for a ways. And that is going to match up pretty darn well with that right there. So my zone really would be based on this price action right here. So we hit that, we pushed up, and we broke through it. Okay. So those are going to be my zones. Let's go ahead now, and we're going to open up Don's charts. And I know the obvious choice would probably be to start with the futures, like SPX or SPX 500 USD. But this is a little bit messy, and this is the result of many months of Don putting zones on here. That to me gets to be a little bit much, and I don't have all that backstory. So let's go to Airbnb, and let's see where Don has zones and where he has speed bump zones. So The first one is down where I drew a weekly zone. Let's break these out side by side. Let's do that. It's not going to be as clean as if I did it on multiple charts, I don't think, but it should work out well enough for the purposes of this video. Um, let's just get the zoom factor about the same. We're on the 4-hour charts for both, so Don's zone is lower than where mine is. Let's see where he started that. So he started that zone based on this consolidation right here, whereas I can't really argue with that. I mean, not that I can argue with where Don puts his zones, like that would be a stupid argument, right? So his is a little bit lower. That's really interesting. And that's pretty much, if I had to guess, it's because of these wicks right here. Like this is where the tug of war or where the rejection's really happening. But if you remember, like I picked my zone as a result of this this weekly price action. This area right here is what influenced my zone. And the same awkward thing happens, and maybe that's a question for Don or for anybody that's smarter than me. Like I get weirded out when price just comes up through a zone and then just comes right back down through it. Like that to me that looks like the zone's just being disrespected, but I mean pushed up, sold off, consolidated, pushed up, failed to break above, came down, tried holding right here, broke down through, speed bump, speed bump, speed bump. So let's examine some of those speed bumps. Does he have speed bumps where I have zones? Where's my... Nope, that's completely different. So he doesn't have anything there at all where I have this zone. So that would be, I'd be interested in hearing Don's thought on that then. Why is there no zone there? Um, and then I have up here, actually, oh, I got so close on that one. So my zone was a result of this point of consolidation. His zone was, okay, so where I grabbed this whole base right here, he grabbed just below it. I wonder if that's a result of this. And I thought about that too. I think that's one that I was like going back and forth on. Um, unless there was, he grabbed it. Was it, was he looking at something like the hourly? That makes a little bit more sense on the hourly. Like I'm assuming since the box starts right there, that's where he based that zone off of. So you got the push up, it rejected, it tried holding and then broke down through. So that's clearly acting as a boundary of some sort. I still like that zone a little bit higher up. So that's awkward to me. It's awkward that we broke up and then just came right back down through it. These wicks make a lot of sense based on that though, versus mine. Well, I mean, look at that. That's not too far off. So where my zone's off by like $1 on a $140 ticker. So I mean, how is that consequential? Like, um, the the bottom of my zone's way different than his though. The bottom of my zone, well, once again, is based on price action further back versus the bottom of his zone. Pretty clearly plays out with this consolidation right here. So we pushed up. Um, this is just a choppy nightmare thanks to earnings. We pushed up, we came down, we held it, and we continued pushing up. And I think my stop's like right there now. And then if we come back down into it, actually I gotta set an alert because we come back down and I'm buying that again. But see, so there's an example of why this would make a difference, right? Because my alert is at my type 1 and his is going to be much further down. Now the reality is I'm gonna get my alert. I'm gonna wait for it to probably get down to like here, which would be about his type 1, and then I'm gonna enter a position with my stop down below this because I don't want to get tagged out for no reason. So it would be something like that. And Don does not have a zone higher up. So there we go. So the only other funky thing to me is the speed bumps, and then he zoned some stuff out further down, it looks like. Yeah, I didn't do anything down here, so that one's not super important to me right now. I don't want to cheat and be like, oh, let me just throw a zone on there. So he's got a speed bump there, and he's got a speed bump there that is between my zones. I can kind of see like the logic for a speed bump, right? Because you've got pushed up, sold off, pushed up, sold off, pushed up, sold off, but it's not turning around. That's not like anything truly explosive happening right there. It's just sort of awkward. So, um, versus this, that's so far up there. If there's no zone between there, ooh, I might if I take the dip. Well, we got to deal with that before we get there, so never mind. That'll if Airbnb is going to keep going up, then that'll come into effect. But as of right now, it doesn't really matter. So there we go. There's Airbnb. There's my zones versus Don's zones. You can see that they're close, but they're not quite the same. So Don, I hope you get a chance to review this. Do a little breakdown of what I'm doing right or wrong, and maybe it'll help somebody else out as well who's learning to do this and trying to dial in the art of drawing colorful boxes. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.